Hey there guys, before we get too far along in the video, I just wanted to pause real quick, give you a little technical update on the locomotive since I've had it for a couple days now, what I think about it overall, something that you'll probably run into if you get this locomotive as well. So let's get started. Alright, so right out of the gate, the good. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I'm really excited to see Kato bring this back. The model itself looks phenomenal, runs very well. You know, it's everything I want a D51 to be. And the addition of the detail kit, which y'all saw in the beginning of the video, it's basically like a Lego set. You can customize the D51 to any region, specific look, and I love that. You're not locked into buying, one boiler specification or one type. It's here's the base, add the parts, make it yours, and I think that's really awesome. That said, the biggest elephant in the room, and I'm unfortunately going to struggle with this one a little bit, for a 2025 production locomotive, this thing does not have an ounce of DCC capability out of the box. When the locomotive first came out in the early 2000s, it had a small NMRA 8-pin connection in the tender. Well, times have changed. There is no longer a single 5-pole motor that the original came with. This guy has two coreless motors. They're both facing the gearbox right in here, and they power the locomotive. And this is essentially getting you a really smooth mechanism. It's similar to the P42, the EF81 electric, the EF510 electric, the traditional dual coreless locomotives that Kato has been using over the years. Again, this loops back. The biggest problem with this setup and the way that there's a single PCB in the boiler is, and you can pull this out and the locomotive will run by itself. The biggest problem is that DCCing this thing is quite the challenge. Now, I'm going to give credit to the Japanese YouTubers out there. I've seen many already tear into this thing at DCC Sound. Y'all are doing an awesome job, and us in the West and other parts of the world, we appreciate your efforts so much. Because ideally, I'm going to add Loc Sound 5, get a speaker in here, and the full shebang I usually do for most locomotives. But given the nature of this beast, it's going to take a little while for her to become DCC ready. While I've got the locomotive apart, I'm going to cover the one technical issue that I keep running into this thing, and if you look closely here, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So the biggest problem you're going to have is, even during normal operation and just moving the locomotive around, these two brass wires right here. They've got little plastic nubs on the edge of the drawbar. Well, they love to work their way loose and make contact and short the whole thing out. And this is something I've had, not even reconnecting the locomotive, just running it for a few laps, parking it, tinker with it a little bit, put it back on the track, and suddenly it's shorting out and not working. Well, it's because those prongs are working their way loose. Now, what I'm going to do is either glue them in place, use some liquid masking tape or something, just to kind of keep them steady so this thing doesn't become a short circuit liability, especially when we put a DCC sound decoder in the mix. There is one last segment I want to cover because I know people are going to look this locomotive up for customizing to a certain Thomas character. Yes, we all know that was based off the D51 class. Is the price. Even with discounts, you got to throw in tax and shipping from Japan. You're going to be looking for the base model, just DC, no extra detail kit, $280 to $300 US. And that's a pretty good chunk of change. In the North American market, you can go get a most Atlas locomotives, a Walthers, a scale trans rivet counter, fully loaded DCC sound, ready to go, $300. So, just a word of caution if you are looking one. Otherwise, if you're crazy like me and love foreign steam, this is a really cool piece to add to your collection, and I'm really glad I've got mine. Now, whether it gets a friend in the future is to be determined, but for now, I'm going to quit yapping and let this guy do the rest of the talking. Thanks for watching, guys.